SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Waiting. You do it at grocery stores, in traffic, and at the doctor's office. But what if you could skip the wait altogether? Introducing Trust Care Plus, a healthcare membership that makes feeling better even faster. Skip the waiting room and enjoy priority access at any Trust Care clinic. Sick kid? Text your care crew day or night. Get discounts on prescriptions and so much more. Wait no more. Feeling better just got a whole lot faster. Join Trust Care Plus today. Plans start from just $15 a month. Learn more at trustcarehealth.com/plus.
Roll pre-record on my count. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Roll A, fade up on A.
Southern Miss to the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
Glad that you're with us on the SuperTalk Mississippi network of stations or online or anywhere that you might be listening to us across the state. It's the Eagle Hour, a Wednesday edition from our studios in Oak Grove, the Southern Bancorp studios in Oak Grove. This first segment brought to you by Dickey's Barbecue Pit, smoked here, loved everywhere. Leave your tailgating needs, big or small, to the professionals at Dickey. Not only the greatest meats available, but the side dishes, the wide variety of side dishes that you can use to supplement that tailgate party. Dickey's is a proud supporter of Southern Miss Athletics, and we're glad that they also support this program. On the show today, one of our good friends, Travis Higa, who, believe it or not, enters his 7th year as the director of the Pride of Mississippi Marching Band at the University of Southern Mississippi. John Bixby is also with us. He's a native of Paxton, Illinois. Yes, he was on the winning side. But we're not going to hold that against John today. John used to march and be a member of the Cavaliers, which is a drum and bugle corps team that is not coming to Hattiesburg on July 23rd. But we're going to talk about drum and bugle corps and about the big event that DCI is putting on Wednesday, July 23rd. Luke Johnson will be along a little bit later on in the show. We'll get you up to date as to what our former host and good friend Luke Johnson is doing. Again, glad that you're with us on this Wednesday. Welcome, guys. Good to have you here.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having us back again.
I say this with all due respect. Nobody gets more excited about the intro to this show than you guys just did.
Absolutely.
Because, of course, it's the Pride. Playing. Now, do you get a royalty check for that, Travis? No,
it won't be us, but it'll go back to the students for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start to talk about the big event coming up on Wednesday, July 23rd at The Rock. DCI Incorporated bringing drum and bugle corps, some of the finest in the country, to The Rock to perform. Now, it's been how long now since this show? They've had, 4 or 5 at least that I remember, maybe longer than that, but it's been pretty much an annual event, yes?
Yes, it's been here for quite a while. For all seven of my years here, we've had it on campus.
And how does the university get that show? Because I'm sure there are a lot of different organizations or schools that would like DCI to come to their campuses, Travis.
Well, one is that we just have a really good venue for drum corps. The Blue Devils are here every year. They love performing at our venue at The Rock. It's just a really good venue, so they just want to be here. It's
kind of a culture shock for them being from California, right, to hang out in Hattiesburg for a while. But, John, I want to ask you, as you are here now at Southern Miss getting your doctorate, I believe.
Correct.
Okay. So let me ask about how you got involved with the Cavaliers. And it's not just anybody gets into any of these drum and bugle corps. You got to be pretty good at what you do.
Oh, yeah. I actually got in my senior year as a high school student, but I was really encouraged by my band director to take a look at DCI and saw them for a couple of years and then really motivated me to do that. So to get involved with that, you have to go through auditions, and the auditions happen during the wintertime, usually around between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So depends on the corps when they hold their weekend auditions and so forth. But when I went to audition, there was, just for the drum line, there was at least 500 guys auditioning
And
for
you were
this.
in the drum line.
And I ended up being in the drum line, yes.
And there's no such thing as tenure when it comes to something like this, or is
no.
there?
Yeah, you have to audition every single year. Granted, you do have a hands up on them because you've already marched with them. The staff already knows you, but you still have to audition each year that you're a part of them.
And really, you have to be good and have to have a certain love for it because you're shelling out many times money out of your own pocket to sleep on gymnasium floors at these different venues potentially around the country.
Oh, yes. And we don't get to eat at restaurants or anything. So we have to eat out of a food truck, which is a semi-trailer that was converted into a kitchen. And, of course, sleep on the gym floor so we don't get hotels and things like that. So, yeah, it's kind of a rough world, but to go out and perform every single night in front of thousands of people, it is an awesome feeling.
What is the difference? And I mean, again, all due respect to all different levels of bands, but to the layperson at home, what's the difference between a marching band and a drum and bugle corps?
The biggest difference is basically there's no woodwinds in the drum and bugle corps because the bugles are all brass. And they just incorporated the slide trombone, which is probably their newest ones that they just allowed into the drum and bugle corps. Electronics is now part of it as well since I've marched. But woodwinds is the biggest difference between a marching band and a drum and bugle corps.
But it seems to me too, John, that just the level of showmanship and the entertainment level that drum and bugle corps brings, and again, no slight at all to marching bands, but you're also working with a smaller number of musicians, right?
Yes, because they'll do things that marching bands were limited a little bit with that aspect, but with the drum and bugle corps, they do this every day and day out, so that it's 24/7 with them, so they can really hone in on their one show that they do, and so they can compete at a high level.
And in the second segment of the show today, we're going to talk specifically with Travis about the Pride, and they'll have about 300 strong this fall, but how many members of a drum and bugle corps generally?
Well, when I marched, it was only 128, but now they've upped the number, so I want to say about 150 for the drum and bugle corps, and they also upped the level or the age limit because it used to be you were aged out at 21 when I marched, and now they've upped it to 25. So you got 4 more years to march if you would like.
Okay, and that's the question that probably the layperson would like to ask too. If you're out of college, why would you want to continue to do this?
That was our question when I marched. So it's like you need to move on with your life. And they had talked about upping the age. And we're like, no, we need to move on with our life. And so, but they did up the level or the age to 25. Why, I do not know. But that's it.
So if I can jump in,
sure.
One thing that I think is really unique is that in college marching band, for example, it's not very competitive. Our competitiveness is with ourselves day in and day out, performing for the audiences at each home game. But where for DCI, it's a very competitive atmosphere. And I think that folks that want to still continue to be competitive and get a rating and pushing themselves in that regard, that's where DCI really fits in there.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. This isn't just a performance for the kicks and giggles. This is an actual competition.
Correct. Yes, DCI, they're coming to the show all summer long whenever they perform. They're not just performing, but it's competitive. There's judges, they're getting ratings, and they're competing against each other, all for their Grand Nationals.
The World Championship.
World Championship.
Yeah. And because I know marching bands will go to competitions, at least at the high school level. I know they do. And so the different areas that marching bands are judged, are there different areas that drum and bugle corps are judged on, or pretty much the same?
It's relatively the same. And again, what John was alluding to with there's no woodwinds, there's no flutes, clarinets, saxophones, and drum and bugle corps. That is a difference. High school marching bands do have that, but yet the rating and the judging is very similar, actually, between high school competitions and DCI competitions as well.
Now, we've got 5 teams coming in on the 23rd.
6 in total.
6 in total coming to the Rock on Wednesday night, January 23rd. Pick it up from there, Travis. Now, this is not Southern Miss is simply facilitating this event. It's DCI that's actually coming in. So how do people get tickets for the show?
To get tickets to the show, you can go to dci.org/Southern Mississippi. And you can buy tickets online there through the DCI website. If not, you can also go to the Pride of Mississippi Facebook or Instagram page. We also have links there where you can get some tickets.
How is it determined what teams will come to Hattiesburg? Because there are events all over the country, if you're familiar with drum and bugle corps. So who determines who comes to Hattiesburg and who goes to Boston or California or wherever? John, do they make those decisions on their own, the teams?
Usually it's like the drum corps will say they want to go to a specific area. And then from there, they work with DCI to put together a tour to lead them to that area. So, and then of course they look for hosts. So, Southern Miss is constantly a host for one of the shows on the way to either Texas or to Atlanta, Georgia for one of the massive shows.
If you want to see some of the best musicians and entertainers ever, you need to go to this DCI event. You'll really be blown away by the talent that you see on the field. And what anybody that's never been before, John, what will they see more specifically when they go to the event? I know all 6 are going to perform.
The performance, especially with the Blue Devils from Concord, California, they have been a world champion for. They host the most of any drum corps and the highest score. So the precision and the artistry, I guess, and especially the drill is at a high level. So if you're going to come to the show, I would suggest either sitting up in the balcony or on the top of the first level.
Yeah, you don't want to miss any of it. And again, DCI.org/Southern Miss is where you go online, or you can look at the Pride's Facebook page, and there will be links on there as well. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk specifically about the Pride. They will start reporting. Look, believe it or not, another school year we're on the cusp of it, and the Pride will be among the first people to hit the campus. We'll talk about the upcoming shows and a 7-game home schedule for Southern Miss. The director of the Pride with us in just a moment.
Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel is a wholesaler and distributor that has been powering our community for over 20 years. With everything from conduits to tape, tools to home automation devices, if you can think of it, we supply it. All you need to do is talk us through the project at hand, and we'll ensure you're equipped to get it done right. To get all the electrical supplies you need, visit Robinson Electric at 519 North 13th Avenue or call us at 601-649-1317.
Hey, Southern Miss fans, TrustCare Health is proud to support the Golden Eagles and help keep our community in top shape, whether you're cheering at the Rock or the Peak. TrustCare has your back with convenient walk-in clinics and top-notch care for your urgent, primary, and kids' care needs. From game day injuries to everyday health needs, TrustCare is your go-to team. Visit us in Hattiesburg and Laurel, and let's keep the spirit of Southern Miss soaring to the top. Visit TrustCareHealth.com for more details. TrustCare Health. Feel better faster.
The Eagle Hour. Southern Miss to the top.
Campus Bookmart sponsors this second segment of the program. It's in the bright gold building across from the main entrance to the campus, across from the Rose Garden. It's your one-stop shop for everything Southern Miss, whether you want to wear it or give it as a gift. They've got it for you at Campus Bookmart, and they're always open online 24/7 at Campus Bookmart. That's bookmart with a T.net. Kelly Sander, along with producer-engineer Michael Mergens. John Bixby is with us. The native of Paxton, Illinois, used to march with the Cavaliers, who will not be at this show coming up on July 23rd. But 6 great DCI competitive drum and bugle corps teams will be here. Travis Higa is also here, a native of Hawaii in his 7th year as director of the Pride of Mississippi at Southern Miss. And we talked about how the band members will be among the first students on campus for a semester that begins on August 18th. They will be here on the 10th, and my, are they going to be busy bees, Travis?
Yes, they will be.
7 home games for the Southern Miss football team this year, including the first 3
right in a row
on campus. So how in the world, first of all, God bless you. Okay. How are you going to pull all of this together in just a really short period of time?
It is a really short period of time. However, we have a lot of returning students who are just great leaders. And so I know that once we get back to campus, we're going to work really efficiently. to get through all of the things we need to get through, which is our preseason drill and music, all of our stand tunes, and then also just learning our first halftime show along with probably our second halftime show as well, all within 7 days.
Now, here's something that Southern Miss fans should especially be impressed with about the pride of Mississippi is that there aren't many bands that we know of at all across the country that perform a different halftime show for just about each and every game that is played on campus. But that is the case with the Pride. And again, the first 3 games are home games. It would be real easy, Travis, just to say, you know what, we're not going to do that anymore. But you guys are out there rocking and rolling.
Yes, that did cross my mind when I saw the schedule. But I really think that it keeps everyone engaged to play a new halftime show for each home game, but it also keeps the audience engaged as well with what we do.
You choreograph the marching. Mm-hmm. Tell me about some of your support staff and some of the things that there are so many working pieces of a puzzle that people don't understand about a marching band.
That is absolutely true. None of this happens by myself at all, but we have a great staff that support the Pride of Mississippi. That extend from some of our faculty members through staff members, graduate students, and then especially our student leadership and returning members that help this organization function.
Now, how do you coordinate with, because you've got the Dixie Darlings, you've got the
color guard, the drum line, the twirlers, the
list goes on, as they say. So how do you coordinate all of that?
I try to do my best to communicate effectively, to come up with a game plan and execute the game plan. So that's in the process that we're doing right now. Over the summer, it's a lot of planning, getting all the pieces in place. And then once the fall semester hits, once August 1st hits, it's all about executing. And
to show you how talented a lot of these athletes are, the musicians rather, who I consider to be athletes because of the work that they put in prior to a season, some of the things that these musicians are going to be exposed to, they don't even know about yet. So some of it's going to be on the fly, right?
Yes.
That's the nature of the business.
That is. But then again, we have such a great music education scene down here, and we have a bunch of talented students coming in that I know that they've already had 4 years of training and learning and growth, so that when they come in here, they're going to be around other students with the same kind of talent level to execute what we're going to have to do.
Now, 300 members strong, and you've said you like that number. What is it about 300 that you just like?
300 is a good number. 1, it's a good round number. 2, it's not too large to where whenever we have to move the band or get them from point A to point B on campus where it becomes too difficult. But on the field, it takes up enough of the field where we can still create formations and it to look the way that we want it to. If we had 400 people, the field gets kind of cluttered at times. So it's a good number to have there, and it's enough people where we can have the impact that we have.
And at times, the Pride has had as many as 350 members, but about 300 this year. And I say this for the benefit of our illustrious producer engineer, Michael Mergens. I'm ready to lay something on you here, Merg. Halftime show, one of the shows that the Pride is going to do is going to feature the music of Led Zeppelin. How about that?
I have a mic.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't have a mic to respond, but I'll get to talk to him later. But I know that's big news for some of us old folks, Travis.
Yes, it's going to be a fun year. Hopefully we play some music. We have a good halftime show for everyone in the audience to enjoy during halftime, while they're resetting for all the wins that we're going to have this season.
Oh, I like your optimism. Mm-hmm. But you said that this year's lineup of shows will be kind of rock heavy.
Yes, rock heavy. We're going to have some Elvis in there. We're going to have a rock theme show for our All South Marching Band Day when we play App State, September 13th. It's a great day to get all the high school marching bands to join the Pride, get an experience of what's that like. But we're also playing App State. And like we all know, they have the fake rock at their campus. So I'd love to make sure that we let everyone know where the real rock stands.
Well, see, we call them Crap State. So we'll leave that. You'll leave that to us, Travis. You got to play.
I'll need your help with it for sure.
Yeah, okay. Crap State comes to town the third week of the season. But the question I'm already getting from people, and I asked it to you in the pre-show, was about Mississippi State coming week 1, and of course the world famous Sonic Boom of Jackson State coming in week 2. what sort of collaborative effort, or what do we know at this point about performing with Mississippi State's band and or the Boom?
Well, we're really excited to have both of those bands on campus. With that first game with Mississippi State coming, one, they're just really good friends with us and the famous Maroon Band. They'll be bringing a pep band, I think, onto campus. One, it's a really early game, and two, they have a really big band to move as well. But we're excited to be performing with them in the stands and trading off tunes there. And then with Jackson State, getting them down here is going to be really exciting to have the world famous
Sonic Boom coming in. But we don't know at this point yet whether you guys are going to be, some of those details have to be worked out, right, as far as performing with them or not performing with them or having separate times.
Yes. Yeah, we're still in that beginning stage process, but I know it's going to be really exciting to see them perform and for us to perform. It's just two really good bands, I think. Two bands doing marching band at the highest levels. And to see that in one halftime show, it's going to be really exciting for the crowd.
Oh, yeah, I think so, for sure. And I've asked you this question before, but we always get new audiences every year. We mentioned Led Zeppelin. Mm-hmm. Of course, that's really cool. And I know Michael's a big Led Zeppelin fan. But is it possible that there are some college musicians now that have never heard of Led Zeppelin or don't know anything about Led Zeppelin? And if not, if they've never heard music, I know it's on a sheet, but I don't know. There's just something about playing something that you've never heard before. Whether it's, what do you think, John, on something like that?
Well, I mean, if they've never heard them before, then my first suggestion would be probably go to YouTube and take a listen to some of the recordings and things like that, just so they have an idea of what they sounded like. Or maybe even Google them and find out the history of them.
How much input, Travis, do your student leaders have in the actual conduction, for lack of a better term, of the band?
I like to meet with them in the spring and get a kind of a pulse with what we should be doing in our halftime show. So we met in the spring before we got out of the semester. And we talked about how we construct a halftime show, but then also got their input on all of these shows. So one, I'm meeting with them on Friday to really talk about our halftime selections. But they helped me a whole lot. They gave me a bunch of really good ideas. And what myself and Cody Edgerton did, who's assistant director of bands, we got together and sifted through that list and found what would be the best tunes to put together and what would be the best for our season this year. So it's taken from their ideas with some of our input.
You talked about the third week of the season when App State comes to town, that the high school bands from around the area participate with the Pride. Logically, I would think that that's a recruiting tool.
Yes, it's great to get them on campus. One, I think it's great whenever students get to campus and then get to experience what college might be like for them, and not just that, but college marching band will be like for them. So I would love to invite all the high school marching bands to come in and just see what we're going to do, be a part of the Pride for a day. But yes, many of our students that we have were a member of the All-South Marching Band.
And have we set the date yet for the preview of what you guys will do before the first game?
Good question. Yes, our Pride preview will be on the first Friday of the semester, which will be on August 22nd, I believe.
Okay. So that's a Monday night.
Friday night.
Friday. Okay, gotcha.
Friday night, the first Friday of when we start classes, and that's a great time where we get to showcase all that we did during our preseason.
And you guys get huge crowds for that, too.
It has really grown.
Yeah, and that's in Spirit Park now.
Spirit Park, 6 p.m.
Okay, well, man, a lot of things going on with the band, but don't forget about the DCI Drum and Bugle Corps. Some of the best musicians and performers in the country will be at The Rock on Wednesday night, July 23rd. It's so hot outside, I'm wishing it was January 23rd. That's 2 weeks from tonight, actually. DCI.org is where you can get tickets for that. John Bixby, continued success. We're glad to have you here in the Deep South.
Thank you.
All right, and Travis, as always, you know how I feel about the band and about everything you guys do.
Thank you all very much. Good to be here.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Luke Johnson, we'll be checking with him, a former co-host of the Eagle Hour, see what he's been up to. The Eagle Hour continues after these commercial messages.
You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour. The Eagle Hour. Southern Miss to the top.
4th Street Bar and Grill wants you to know that booty on Wednesday nights. You never know when a game of trivia is going to break out on Wednesday nights down at 4th Street Bar and Grill. And they actually give out trophies and stuff to winners in their trivia games. They've got Golden Tee Golf. They've got pool tables for you to enjoy a game of pocket billiards and the coldest adult beverages around, not to mention that $11.95 Blue Plate lunch Monday through Friday at 4th Street Bar and Grill in the shadow of the rock right over the Highway 49 bridge. Your pregame and postgame destination, 4th Street Bar and Grill, a big supporter of Southern Miss athletics. And don't forget our friends at MCS Home Center in Bellevue. It's like a big box store that has everything that you need in if you use it in, on, or around your home, but you'll be met with a friendly local smile with people that you go to church with and people that you know really well, and they'll take you right to it. Trust me, great place. If you haven't checked it out yet, you're just going to go past the 589 interchange with Highway 98, and it's going to be right there on the right. We're glad to have them with us, as we are also glad to have our former colleague and always good friend, Dr. Luke Johnson. And I know he's going to pick on me saying you don't have to call me Dr. Luke Johnson, but you worked hard to get that those letters. So credit where credit is due, Luke. A lot of listeners have asked, what's Luke up to? What's he doing? So let's start there.
Well, good afternoon, Kelly. Yeah, I will say nobody else but Kelly Sander is mandated to use that title. Nobody else has to. You're the only person.
You deserve it, though.
Hey, man.
Truly.
Well, I appreciate it. No, we're getting ready for the move to New Orleans. I got hired to be a full-time professor at New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary, and I'll be teaching on the master's and doctoral side, and also running a new program, a gap year program on the undergrad side, where we deploy students all across the city and in the region doing missions work. And so we're excited. We're moving down about 3 or 4 weeks, be living on campus down there. And so, yeah, all that transition just in time for football season.
Well, our loss is New Orleans' gain, certainly, Luke. And we're just under 2 weeks left to go before Media Day for the Sun Belt Conference in New Orleans. Southern Miss will be featured, of course, with the Western Division teams, which will take the stage on Tuesday, the 22nd of July, which is 2 weeks from yesterday. And the university announced that the two players that will be with Coach Huff that day will be linebacker Chris Jones and Braylon Braxton, the quarterback. Luke, when we've talked when you were on the show about football, about how important the quarterback position is, and few teams in the Sun Belt, it seems to us, are as poised at quarterback as Braylon Braxton leading the way right now. But yet, a lot of the preseason prognosticators are showing Southern Miss very little love. And I just don't think the math adds up at this point. What say you?
Yeah, I mean, he is your best quarterback in the conference. And, of course, he comes to the Eagles, and I think he was just named, right, from Athlon, he was just named first-team quarterback. And, you know, it helps that he's in the same system. Blake Anderson will run his system, but being familiar with what's happened. Here, I don't know if y'all have discussed this at all, but, you know, last year he really didn't play the first part of the season. And correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed as if that was an intended strategy from Marshall's coaching staff. So, you know, I'll just say this. I sure hope he plays against Mississippi State, and I sure hope he plays in those early non-conference games. I wouldn't expect anything different, but I think it is something to ask and wonder about from his usage last year. Was that intentional, or did he come on in practice, you know, after the first third of the season? So,
but it doesn't make sense to me, though, with all the accolades that he has not only earned, but is projected to do this season, that Southern Miss as a team is not picked to finish very strongly. And again, a lot of that stuff is just for entertainment purposes more than anything else. But I'm just a little taken back by that.
Well, I mean, when you don't put wins on the field, then you have to overcome everyone else's doubts, and so nobody's going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I mean, that's, you wear a chip on your shoulder and you go earn it, and you remove that through your play. But doesn't bother me. I mean, why would anyone outside of Southern Miss think that a team that has not won many games the last several years, why would we all of a sudden flip it? I get it, Charles Huff. I get Braxton. I get the change. We all see that. But if you're just looking at it outside, Eagles got to go prove it. They got to go prove that they're a 500 or better team because they haven't been.
When the players that came over from Marshall, when you look at some of those, plus other transfers from the portal that Coach Huff and his staff have been able to pick up, you would certainly think that there's reason for great optimism. But even if that is the case, Luke, what's and you're a realist. What do you think? What's a realistic vision for this team record-wise?
Well, the benefit of having the number of guys from Marshall, and then, you saw some of the other single guys that we got from different places connected to Coach Anderson or connected to other people. But particularly the Marshall guys, they know the type of culture Charles Huff wants. And rather than having, a handful of dudes buy in when the new coach comes in and then convince everybody else, you've got, 20% maybe more of your football team that are selling that culture that has already they've already been a part of. So regardless of that internal influence, if you have the guy that won the conference last year coming in, you better buy into that culture because it worked last year. So, yeah, I mean, I think a 500 year, I would salute that. Again, I wouldn't be happy about that. I think this team's more capable of that. But I don't want to be the guy, because I've been this guy before, to think, 9 easy. Man, forget that. Like, you win the games you're supposed to win. You win a couple games that you're not supposed to win. And then you got a 50-50 shot in a few of them. So, I would certainly think with 7 home games, that 7 or 8 wins would not be out of the question.
And that's where I'm going next with the schedule, particularly with the first 3, Mississippi State, Jackson State, and then App State in conference. This is a really, probably in recent times, and I'm not trying to give into hyperbole here, but I really think these first 3 games are probably the biggest 3 games that Southern Miss will have played in football in recent memory. Because not only the level of the competition, but what it means under a first-year coach that might have higher expectations than maybe they should have slapped on them.
Yeah, 2-1, and I think there's a place where you're 4-1. You would like to at least be 3-2 through 5, but I think there's a path to being 4-1. And then if you're 4-1, then you can. It's going to be tough to go 2-0 against Georgia Southern and Louisiana in the middle. So if you're 5-2, 4-3 through 7, and then you get, the next 2 out of 3 at home with ULM and Texas State, and then you split the last 2 on the road. I mean, if you're 4-3 through 7, you're 5-2 through 7, you're feeling excellent about yourself. I mean, at least as a fan, players want to win them all. But I think the key to it is to be 2-1 and at least 3-2 through 5, hopefully 4-1.
Talking with some of the coaches outside of that are in the Sun Belt, but outside of the Southern Miss loop, of course, think that if he stays healthy, one of the people that will go with Coach Huff to Media Day, being Chris Jones, has the potential to be one of the best players ever at Southern Miss, again, staying healthy, but that he's got a skill set that is off the charts. How good can Chris Jones be, Luke?
I mean, I think he can be, after 4 years, you could write him in with some of the guys that I played with, some of the guys that came after me, some of the guys that came before me. I mean, the skill set's there, and I think with Chris Jones, what we saw last year was a guy that when they threw him in there, as a true freshman, he made plays. So that's what you want. You don't want to listen to people who are telling you how great you can be. You want to go out there and take your God-given skill set and make your own legacy. Either playing better, playing at a way where you're playing better than how people hyped you. But you can't listen to all that stuff. And hopefully he won't. But what I appreciate about Chris Jones is he looks like, in his play and his mindset matches some of the great Southern Miss linebackers throughout history.
We're going to continue our discussion with Luke Johnson after a commercial break, and we're going to get his opinion on if he could wave a magic wand and pick any school that he wants to succeed Texas State after the Bobcats leave the Sun Belt Conference. Who might it be and why? But a reminder that Genesis of Hattiesburg is the official auto dealer of the Eagle Hour. Genesis sedans and SUVs are the finest luxury vehicles on the road today. You can visit their all-new Genesis showroom on Highway 98 West in Hattiesburg. And don't forget the SuperTalk Eagle Hour podcast, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube, or you can just tell Alexa or Siri to play the SuperTalk Eagle Hour. Our conversation with colleague Luke Johnson continues in just a moment.
Robinson Electric Supply in Laurel is a wholesaler and distributor that has been powering our community for over 20 years. With everything from conduits to tape, tools to home automation devices, if you can think of it, we supply it. All you need to do is talk us through the project at hand, and we'll ensure you're equipped to get it done right. To get all the electrical supplies you need, visit Robinson Electric at 519 North 13th Avenue or call us at 601-649-1317.
Hey, Southern Miss fans, TrustCare Health is proud to support the Golden Eagles and help keep our community in top shape, whether you're cheering at the Rock or the Peak. TrustCare has your back with convenient walk-in clinics and top-notch care for your urgent, primary, and kids' care needs. From game day injuries to everyday health needs, TrustCare is your go-to team. Visit us in Hattiesburg and Laurel, and let's keep the spirit of Southern Miss soaring to the top. Visit TrustCareHealth.com for more details. TrustCare Health. Feel better faster.
Southern Miss to the top. To the top. You're tuned in to the Eagle Hour.
Thanks to DBAT for their support of the program. DBAT, the beautiful indoor air-conditioned baseball and softball training facility just off of I-59 in Hattiesburg. And tell everybody at Mo Bay Beignet that we said, hey, Mo Bay Beignet, they don't even make your beignets until you order them. That's how fresh they are. And your choices of the dipping sauces that they have there. And enjoy a full selection of hot and cold coffees. Mo Bay Beignet Company at 2902 Hardy Street. Kelly Sander along with producer-engineer Michael Mergens. And on the phone, our colleague Luke Johnson, who we're going to talk to in just a second. But a reminder on a programming note that there will be no Eagle Hour tomorrow. Tomorrow, they will be broadcasting in Jackson what's called a radiothon. At least that's what they used to call them in the day. They'll be raising money all day for the Palmer Home for Children. So we encourage you to participate. And anything that you could give toward that cause, helping those kids all across the state of Mississippi, would be helpful. So no Eagle Hour show tomorrow. We will be replaced just tomorrow by the radiothon for the Palmer Home for Children. Luke Johnson rejoins us. Luke, I asked you going into the break if you could wave a magic wand. Realistically, I mean, we know that none of the teams from the AAC are going to leave because of the money that's involved. So realistically, first question, who would you want? Second question, who do you think it'll be?
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if, East Carolina or somebody like that came in. The American signing with ESPN, what was it? Everybody gets $7-8 million a year.
A lot more, right?
Yeah, I just don't think it's possible to get that. So, I mean, I think Liberty should be the one that you target. Lynchburg, Virginia.
Right.
We've already got a Virginia team in there, but we've got a few other states that have two teams. This is why I don't think that Jack State or Louisiana Tech would be a possibility. The only way I think Tech would be a possibility is if Monroe had to drop down due to budgetary issues or other issues. to FCS.
But all indications right now are that Tech is going to get the call.
I mean, that viral video from several years back, Tech would eat some crow, but they're willing to eat it to come in the conference. I would go after Liberty. Facilities are unbelievable. They'd be a strong asset. I think their athletic budget is well over $50 million, and a couple years ago, I don't know what it was this past year, but Southern Miss is, in comparison, a little over $30 million. So I'd go after Liberty. I could see Western Kentucky being one, being the fact they've been good in football, they've been good in basketball, and so probably those two. But if I could have, I don't know. When we covered it a few years back, there were rumors out there for whatever reason. The Sun Belt should have got Liberty the last time they expanded.
Well, let me ask you this about Texas State, because I get a lot of Southern Miss fans asking me, why would Texas State even make this move to the Pac-12? When you talk about traveling costs of going from San Marcos to Pullman, Washington, as an example, why in the world would the Bobcats jump ship?
Well, I mean, because you have two former Power 5 teams in that conference with Washington State, Oregon State, who have sat at that table, and so I think the idea of the Pac-12, and it'll be hard pressed to do it, but the Pac-12's hoping, eventually to get back into that circle of the Power 4 and be added back. I don't know if that'll happen, but I mean, if whoever in the group of five was offered a chance to be in a former Power 5 conference, the same way Texas State, a lot of people don't realize how big that campus is, and obviously that media market geographic hub is good for them. So it makes sense, but I do think that Oregon State and Washington State probably led the charge of who they might want in that conference in order to try to rebound back into the ranks of the power conferences.
But athletically, Luke, Texas State did not come into the Sun Belt and really blow the doors off of anybody.
Baseball, I mean, they were a couple outs away from that super a few years ago and made some noise in football, but didn't win the conference. They do though have the potential due to student population, I think, to make some noise. It is
I think over 40,000 students, undergrad students in San Marcos, which that's about 3 times the size of Southern Miss. So that kind of puts that into perspective. But this is constantly a reshaping ball of clay that I don't think will ever take its final form, ever. But, Luke, as always, buddy, good to talk to you. Give our love to Lauren. And, again, our loss is New Orleans' gain. You'll be moving down there in a couple weeks. And you're always welcome to join us here on the Eagle Hour anytime, buddy. Take care.
Thanks, man. Looking forward to seeing everybody August 30th.
Yes, for the opener. To the top.
To the top.
All right, Luke Johnson joining us again. No show tomorrow because of the Palmer Home for Children Radiothon. And then on Friday, former baseball coach Chad Kaye will be joining us along with the new pitching coach for the Southern Miss Golden Eagles, Gunnar Leger, who comes to Southern Miss from Louisiana Lafayette. That's our guest lineup for Friday. You be here as a guest as well until 1 o'clock on Friday. For producer-engineer Michael Mergens, I'm Kelly Sander. Thanks for joining us. Southern Miss.
To the top.
To the top.
Keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future. I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle till I'm free. I go through the revolution.
Waiting. You do it at grocery stores, in traffic, and at the doctor's office. But what if you could skip the wait altogether? Introducing Trust Care Plus, a healthcare membership that makes feeling better even faster. Skip the waiting room and enjoy priority access at any Trust Care clinic. Sick kid? Text your care crew day or night. Get discounts on prescriptions and so much more. Wait no more. Feeling better just got a whole lot faster. Join Trust Care Plus today. Plans start from just $15 a month. Learn more at trustcarehealth.com/plus.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.